Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to RBN Hardware and a brand new video. Today I'm going to show you guys how you can get a complete future-proof pre-built PC powerful enough to run games at 900 to 1080p for under $700. Now, in fact, we're gonna take a look at two slightly different systems here, both priced around $690. Currently, the best budget pre-built systems you can buy for under $700 as of right now in 2022. Now, you may seen a couple of pre-built systems branded towards gaming ranging between $500 to $600. Now, these systems usually include older hardware such as Ryzen 4000 series APUs or several year-old Nvidia GPUs with only 1GB of VRAM. Now, these systems are typically not worth looking into as CPUs and GPUs fall below the requested requirement for many games in 2022. Now, lots of these cheaper pre-built systems often include an older 4-core CPU, which is also below game requirements these days as 6 cores are starting to become the bare minimum, and so ultimately I think these types of PCs should ultimately be avoided. Anyway, spending about $650 you can get this. This is the MXZ entry and it includes a future-proof, fast and snappy 10th gen Core i5-10400F, a 6-core and 12-thread CPU. We find a B460M motherboard with dual channel support, 8GB of RAM, which you can upgrade to 16 if you'd like. We find a 256GB NVMe SSD as well as an Nvidia GT 1030 2GB GDDR5 GPU. Now, spec wise, there is not much to complain about. The CPU pick is great, and in terms of RAM storage, it would have been nice seeing a bit more. However, RAM and SSD storage are thankfully quite cheap these days, and you can easily pop in a 1TB SSD here and have Windows 10 run off of the 256 NVMe SSD. Let's take a look at how games will run on this PC, and let's start with 720p low to medium. Now, what we see here is games such as Fortnite, Rocket League, Rainbow Six. Pretty much all esport games runs with an average over 100 FPS, while more demanding games such as Far Cry 5 lands at a modest 51 FPS. Jumping over to 1080p, we see that esport games are still playable, while Far Cry 5 now is more of a console-like experience. Looking at a few more titles, we get a better understanding how the GPU performs in older versus newer games. And as we can see, less demanding titles runs great on this GPU, but as we can see, it is clearly not an RTX 3080 killer by any means. Now, to put things in perspective, the 1030 lands up between the Ryzen 5 5600G APU and the Radeon RX 550 from Team Red. Now, just on a side note guys, yes, the 1030 variant is indeed the GDDR5 variant. Now, you may not be aware, but Nvidia actually secretly released two variants of the GT 1030, one being with a much slower DDR4 memory, resulting in bad performance. Thankfully, that is not the case here. After a bit of digging, I found someone asking specifically about the GPU, where the manufacturer answered that the card is made by Power Color. A quick Google search reveals that the graphics card in question has a 1228 core clock, which matches up with the GDDR5 variant spec sheet. Let's move on to my second recommendation, and this one is a little bit more expensive, coming in just below $700. It rocks a Ryzen 5 5600G 6-core 12-thread APU, a liquid cooler, 8GB of RAM, which yeah, I highly recommend upgrading, and if you're interested, you do find the RAM kit listed down below. We find 500GB SSD, a B550M motherboard, as well as a 650 watt power supply, so you essentially have plenty of power for a future graphics card investment later down the road. But with that said, let's take a look at the gaming performance, and so the APU is quite impressive. Now, for the best experience in all games, I recommend playing at 1600 by 900p, and this will give you a decent frame rate in most games out there. Once again, if we take a look at some comparisons here, we see that the 5600G is performing quite similar to the GT 1030. Now, to sum things up guys, basically with a $700 budget to spend on a pre-built system, you should expect esport-like games to run with silky smooth frame rate, and even a few AAA titles at 700p should deliver solid frame rate. You can also choose the middle ground on 900p and enjoy a playable experience in most games out there. Now, if you're interested, you can actually get away cheaper if you buy things in part and build it yourself. However, this will require a bit more effort, but yeah, in my opinion, that is totally worth it, as you can get a whole lot more performance for cheaper if you'd like. I actually have a video linked up down below where I cover everything you need to know and what performance you can expect. Now, if you find this video helpful, leave a thumbs up and any questions you might have, and I will catch you guys in the next video.